Hello everyone! In today's video, I'll be breaking down my film opening convention and how my product represents certain social groups or issues. Starting off, my film opening used the convention of coming of age, romance, and drama genre. In addition, I used the convention of high school life and amnesia themes. Film convention in general are represented through the use of mise-en-scène and technical codes. First, I would like to talk about the mise-en-scène of each convention I use. The first convention of mise-en-scène I will break down will be the setting. For coming of age and high school life film convention, the setting usually happens in small towns and schools. It shows a familiar and relatable environment, therefore added a realistic development of the characters. Similarly, romance and drama films commonly use urban and normal everyday location as their setting, which can be seen throughout my film opening. Another commonly used location would be romantic or scenic place, as per the romance film convention. In this case, my film opening leans more towards scenery, which is the scene at the paddy field. And finally, for the amnesia film convention, one of the locations that is generally used would be personal space like bathroom. The bedroom can help show how the character is searching for clues of their memories, which I follow through in the scene where I show the female writing and reading her diary. The second convention of mise-en-scène I will talk about is the usage of prop. In my film opening, I mainly use everyday items such as books, diary, notes, and friends. This follows the convention of coming of age, drama, high school life, and amnesia film convention, which all use personal items as their conventional props. The props are used to symbolize the character's journey and struggle, which adds to the realism of the film. Next, I will talk about the costume design. For the costume design, a consistent usage of casual, bright, warm pastel outfits can be seen in my film opening. This shows how I follow the coming-of-age film convention, where they commonly use bright, youthful outfits as a costume design. To add to that, romance, drama, and high school life all have pretty similar convention where it consists of casual clothing that represents the character profession or personality. Moving on, the next mise-en-scène that I'll be talking about is the usage of lighting and colors. Talking about lighting, there are two kinds of lighting which are high key and low key. High key leaning more towards brightness and low key more towards dark. For the usage of high key, coming of age drama and high school life typically use natural and soft lighting in film. Natural and soft lighting is used to show a realistic picture of the scene. It also helps showcase the gentleness and warmness of the scene, which can add depth to the emotion that is being conveyed. For romance convention, it uses soft, warm, romantic lighting to create a dreamy and intimate atmosphere. I also use this kind of lighting for the bedroom scene, as I want to create a sense of closeness through the lighting. On the other hand, both drama and amnesia convention uses contrasting lighting such as low-key lighting to create a gloomy and almost melancholy vibe. Along with the usage of soft warm lighting, I added a little bit of contrast that represents the usage of drama and amnesia convention. The scene that takes place in the bedroom used low-key lighting as I wanted to give a melancholy vibe to the scene. This is important because the bedroom scene consists of the main character reading her diary, which helped convey her emotion as she reads through it. Another scene that uses low-key lighting would be the bridge scene, where the male lead confessed for the last time before the accident where he died. Continuing with color convention, most of the film convention I use follow very similar usage of color. Coming of age, romance, and high school and amnesia film convention divide their color symbolism into two. The usage of warm colors such as red, orange, and yellow is used to symbolize warmth, romance, and hope, which accompany the character throughout their journey. In addition, usage of cool colors can be seen from all of the convention as it generally used to portray sadness and confusion where the character in the film faces turmoil. An example from my film opening would also be the bridge scene, where the color scheme is relatively cold. The color portrays the female confusion and the sad revelation of the future. Finally, for my last mise-en-scène convention, I'll be talking about the image composition. Generally, coming-of-age romance high school life films use balanced or symmetrical framing to emphasize harmony or emotional turmoil. I did use this for a couple of my scenes, including the flashback. I also used rule of third, which is part of the high school life convention, where this type of image composition pleases the audience and pulls the focus towards the character. Now, Moving forward to the technical codes, I'll start with the camera shot. I love the film convention conventionally use close-up shot. A close-up shot in this game helps to emphasize the character's emotion by pulling the focus on their facial expression. This will put the audience focus on the gesture and reaction that the characters are making. Going more specific, the setting or the background the character is in is going to be established by using conventional long shot. And then, meanwhile, Rame's convention used two shots to illustrate the relationship between the characters in my film opening. I used this shot in a flashback park scene to show that they are a couple. Next would be the editing convention. For the coming of age convention, it uses montage to show the sequence of the events that is happening in the film, highlighting the character's journey. Similarly, Romance in High School Life uses romantic montage to show the development of relationship between the characters. This can be seen on the paddy field scene where the character is showing subtle intimacy, gesture, and affection. Still, with montage, the Amnesia convention uses something called montage of recollection. This editing technique is specifically used to show flashes of memory as pertain amnesia. For this one, I use the technique to show flashback on the characters going on a date. And last, I use slow motion as one of the editing technique, which is part of the drama convention. Extended shots allow the emotional weight of the scene to unfold slowly, adding to the visual experience and emotion. Lastly, I'll be talking about the second convention as my last breakdown, which is the sound convention that is used in my film opening. In coming of age convention, it is common to use a soundtrack that helps set the mood and convey the character's emotion over the scene. In this case, I use sad soundtrack, almost mumbled with a dramatic remix from the very start of my film. This helps convey the underlying sadness and problems over what seemed to be an ordinary scene. Halfway through my film opening, the sound gradually tones down and becomes soft, emotional music, which is part of the amnesia convention where the music is used to trigger memories or emotional realization as the characters slowly regain their memory. You can see how the music comes in where the female is looking through her diary, which is followed by flashback and the uses of superimposition where the male lead slowly disappears. This implies a sense of loss as the female lead regains her memory. Now, enough for the convention, let's break down things I did in my film opening that went against my film genre and theme convention. If you're talking about the setting, from amnesia convention specifically, locations such as hospital and remote place would be generally used. Characters who suffer from memory loss will often find themselves in unfamiliar surroundings, therefore showing that they have no recollection of their past. But in my film opening, I choose to use props such as diary and notes to indicate the main character has problem with her memory. Hence, the text written and on notes being a bunch of reminders. A lot of scenes show the female constantly writing and reading through her diary, which further hints her memory loss. The costume in Amnesia Confession also mainly use plain, neutral clothes, which is the direct opposite of the bright and warm tone clothing I use on my actors. This implies that my main character still has her sense of identity despite her losing her memory. Another thing that went against my film convention would be the color scheme I use. Typically, to convey sadness, one would use cool tone, but in my film, I consistently use one tone even for the sad scene. I did this to make the emotion conveyed more keen, highlighting how the warmth of a moment is no longer present as the character went through their memories, and so a pastime where the character was happy. This makes the sadness feel more personal and heartfelt. Going to image composition and drama convention, to use it is common to use loose framing to symbolize loneliness. However, in my film opening, I did not do this. Instead, I used a technique called superimposition, where I layer two shots together, then I edit it to make the male lead slowly disappear to thin air. Combined with the female lead's sad and confused facial expression as it happens, it gives a sense of loneliness without the use of loose framing. And finally, based on the romance convention, if we want to set the tone of a relationship or underline the emotional bits of romance, romantic soundtrack will be used. However, in my film opening, I continue to use sad soundtrack for the date scene. This is because I want to indicate how, despite the happy moments, there will be an unexpected turn where everything will fall apart. By this, I mean to emphasize the impending sad events that will happen. All of this leads us to the social group issues within my film. It is obvious how I composed the shot that the social group within my film is girlfriend and boyfriend. On the other hand, the issue being social isolation and mental health issues. Despite being in a relationship, you can see how the female lead never intended to tell the male lead about her illness. This shows how the female lead isolated herself or kept her emotion to herself, which can be linked to the character's fears of being rejected, therefore bringing social isolation to the topic. Besides that, the character's fears of being rejected, therefore bringing social isolation to the topic. And then a recurring theme in my film opening is the portrayal of my character struggling with mental health issues. Amnesia or memory loss in some cases is considered mental health issues, where one of the causes would be anxiety or depression. My film subtly hinted at the stigmatization of mental health issues within society, where character is depicted as trying to navigate their personal problems without help, reflecting societal tendency of overlooking mental health. Well, that's all about it. I've conveyed all of the conventions that I use, how my project uses the convention that I planned, and how did I challenge it, and I've also break down my film opening social groups and issues. Thank you so much for staying at the end and listening